What's going on, guys? Blazing here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are having a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me on another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, by popular request, again, we are doing this. We are reviewing the fusion calendar that we just had. The difficulty, was it easy? Was it hard? Was it, was it okay? And we brought in the expert. We brought the one, the only Nacho. Nacho, how are you doing, my man?
I am doing fantastic. I hope everything is well with everybody, and I hope you all got your EMICs.
I did a poll actually recently on the channel. I like the best results I've gotten so far was like almost 300. There was a lot of people that missed it. It was like 25% of the poll was done, so it was like 70 something people. But yeah, it was a nail biter. It was a nail biter. But let's get into the topic that we have. All right, so you went through the extent of drawing this up for us and going to give us a breakdown. I was trying to wrap my head around this a little bit, but why don't you get started and let me know, how did we start off here? Do we start on Thursday or Friday?
So everywhere that's in red is when you're using energy. That means you use any energy you saved, all of your daily energy until the events are finished, and then on the very last day of that block, you use gems to finish whatever events, basically. Um, so
Okay.
we start at every fusion. I'm going to tell you right now, if you start off with 2,000 energy at least, your life is going to be 10 times easier. So all of these are assuming that you started with at least 2,000 energy saved for this fusion. Okay, like ready to go first day of the fusion, and that's usually the best way to approach these. So that's the other disclaimer for this before you start looking at it too deeply.
Okay,
Um,
so 2 days basically of energy prior to the fusion, just start saving it and you should be good, right?
Pretty much 3 or 4 days because you can't get your regen energy for the days that you're saving it. So you can get 500-600 whatever it is, and then depending on if Doom Tower's around whatnot. So but between 3 and 4 days, save it before the fusion, and you should have a lot easier time, especially if your resources are pretty tight. So yeah, that's just the easiest way to jump into them. But yeah, the very first day we're starting just use all 2,000 of your energy, and so the very first event, all of the black numbers are how much energy it's going to take, and they're usually a little higher than what it takes. Like the minimum requirement for all the dungeons is actually like 20. It's like 2,300 energy or 2,100 energy or something like that. So the 2,500 is like it's a little overkill. And then the champ training tournament, you could do it with none if you use it all brews, but that's assuming you do most of your tournament leveling through campaign and you have chickens ready at max level. So yeah, just going into the first day, you're just gonna dump all of your energy that day, and then we use daily energy all the way through Saturday and gem any events that are left, right? Which the only event that would be left would be dungeon divers at that point. Or I mean, champion training should only take you one day, maybe a day and a half, roughly. But the which dungeon is that? It's the dragon one. Yeah, the dragon one done Thursday. Okay, so we have dragon out of the way, right? So Friday, Saturday, that energy all went to champ training. There it is. That event's done, right? And then you gem up anything you need left for dungeon divers, which for this one was about 400 gems for me.
Okay, so we basically started right off the bat because Dungeon Divers and Spider basically coincided, so we were able to do it this way. We double dipped on the points, which was efficient. Got everything done on that day. Then you used the points for champion training on Friday, brewing along with whatever else you needed to try to get. Did you go ham on it, or did you just kind of like only went for the points needed?
Oh yeah, I personally just went for the points needed. However, a lot of people do say they would love a book farm in the game. Champion training is your book farm. The amount of champion training events that people skip is insane. That is by far the easiest way to get legendary books as far as your energy go. You can get them for less than like 1,500 energy. But people would say they would farm that much for pages for a book, but they won't do champion training. And you get more out of champion training than you would farming pages out of a dungeon. Let's be real.
Right.
So
So, what did you end up doing for the summon rush? Did you pull shards, mystery shards, voids, sacreds? What was your thought for that?
this summon rush, I pulled sacreds and a couple voids. I did just yeah, you had to get 3,000 points, so I was prepared for that. And right on par with the other ones, really. To be honest, it was a little high. Like some of them have come in at 2,500, but 3,000 isn't that much different at this point in the game. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward.
All right, so the first couple of days are done. We got the red block all taken care of. Now we got this, green block right here. Walk me through. What are we doing? What are we planning here?
So like I was getting into before, is that you want to make sure you're running everything during a dungeon divers. So we don't have a dungeon divers Sunday or Monday, depending on your schedule, right? Okay. So Sunday and Monday, we're saving all of our energy. That gives us 1,000 energy, but we have the Ice Golem tournament, which did start. So we need to do Ice Golem on Tuesday because that's when it overlaps with our Dungeon Divers, unless it was like a certain time of night for you. Okay. So Sunday and Monday, we're just literally sitting there collecting energy because we're not getting Dungeon Diver points for it yet. Plain and simple.
So basically, getting artifact enhancement and just focusing on getting arena done, right?
Yeah, I mean, Arena hit your 10 fights a day and you'll have it done. It's pretty self-explanatory on that one. Don't sleep on Arena though. That's one that it can if Arena ends up costing you gems, that's a negative for the fusion. So don't wait on it. Some people, if you're in like Gold 1 or something like that, it can take more than 10 fights a day. So just pay attention.
All right, now we've got, the first couple of days all set, and we're coming into that big time crunch, or point crunch, I want to say, which is the Dungeon Divers. What is the plan here? What did you do?
Yep. So this was the big scary Dungeon Divers that everybody was worried about. This one was the 4,800 point one because it's 4 days long instead of 3 days long. And there's not very many events in the middle of it. So this one was very difficult, and it's actually one of the more difficult ones that they've ever done for the fusions. So Tuesday we had 1,500 energy ready to go into Ice Golem. However, this is our last day for Ice Golem, so we have to gem up whatever we need for that, which is about 200 gems. So but that also pays into our Dungeon Divers, right? So at this point, we had between 1,500 and 1,800 points, depending on your RNG, what stage you're farming, stuff like that. And then Wednesday, we don't have an event unless your Ice Golem tournament bled into that after reset thing. So we're saving energy Wednesday. And then Thursday, our Fire Night tournament started. And for me, this overlap was like, I think it was like 10 hours or something like that. So depending on if you're even available for that, you could have double dipped your Fire Night here. And that's what I ended up doing. However, if you didn't, you got to come out of pocket all the way for all the gems to finish that Dungeon Divers, basically. As far as like actual planning, now what they did do in the middle of this that's not viewed here is they did have a lot of events with energy available in them for low requirements. Okay. I believe there was a tag team tournament that you could have got 200 energy, 300 energy, something like that. Clan shop, you got 1,000 energy. Potentially you're not going to count 3v3, but we did get clan shop reset that day, so you did get 1,000 energy from that. And then we had the soul chase tournament, which you had to get 15 points. Okay, 15 points, and you got 250 energy. I think the artifact enhancement event from the first artifact enhancement event, you could have saved your energy from that as well. So that was another 225, I believe. So we actually ended up getting about 2,000 free energy right there that you could have had. And between your arena tournament, there's another 75. So this Dungeon Divers, actually, we got that 2,000 energy plus the 1,500 we already used. And then we got Wednesday and Thursday, which was another 1,000 energy. Okay, so there's 4,500 energy of the 6,000 we were looking for. Apparently I put 1,000 here. Of the 6,000 we were looking for. Depending on, I mean, that's if you didn't get like any regen energy. This is like 500 a day that you're getting instead of the 900 because not everybody logs in 4 times a day. Realistically, you're logging in like twice to hit clan boss. Like you do your dailies at one point, then you log in at some other point and you'll hit clan boss, right? Like that's most people's raid days. So you get about 700 energy. So you might only need to gem about 1,000 energy for that event if you did all of the other events to get that 2,000 or the 1,000 energy, and then you also had clan gold to get the 1,000 energy from the clan shop, right? So for each one of those 1,000 that you didn't have, that was another, 300 gems that you had to come out or whatever, right?
So now we have an interesting time here. We have the midweek summon rush. Did you end up doing anything on that?
So with the first summon event, we saw that the milestone was 3,000 points, right? That was, we knew for a fact. So coming into the summon rush, my mentality was I need to get 25 more fragments from either this summon rush or the champ chase. One or the other, right? So this one was at 3,000 points for the lowest one. So I actually grabbed this one and I skipped the top frags and I skipped the summoning event for the weekend for 2x ancients. But I only had like 40 ancients. So the chances of me even getting enough points with 40 ancients was pretty slim. So I ended up pulling, this is one of the few times I've actually ended up using a big chunk of my mystery shards. I pulled 2,500 mystery shards for this one. I haven't had to do that for like 5 fusions now. So this is where I finally leaned on them. But yeah, that was the big thing going into it. Like we knew the requirement for the first one, and we're like, okay, well, is this at least on par, or do we think they're gonna beat this for the next summon event? And that was the question I asked myself. And I was like, okay, well, they're doing 3,000 points now. I guess the odds of them doing less than 3,000 points again is probably slim. They'll probably do 3,000 points at minimum. And if they do more, then it's better to do this one. So I just decided to pull the trigger there and do it there. But if you had a lot of ancients, it was probably better to pull on the weekend.
All right, so now we have Dungeon Divers covered up. We have champion training tournaments done. Everything on the first part of the half of the fusion is done. We're about 60% there. We've got this next green block here. What are we doing?
Like I was saying, for me, my Fire Night ended up overlapping, so I didn't have this event to do. Now, if your fusion did end up and you weren't available for that 10 hours that they overlapped, that kind of sucks. You kind of have to focus on your Fire Night now, and you're out a lot more than the people that could do it otherwise, because now I'm saving Friday and Saturday to have a 1,000 energy to go into Sunday. And that's really all it is, because there's not a Dungeon Divers event that starts on Friday and Saturday again. Catching the theme here. You want to line everything up with the Dungeon Divers again. So we did Artifact Enhancement. That cost us about 15 mil again. Then the yeah, that was it. There's Classic Arena that started. But yeah, straightforward again. Save your energy.
So far so good. Everything's great. We're right at the final stretch. Couple of days left in the fusion. We have this big time crunch. It looks like here. Lots of stuff to do. Lots of stuff to take care of. So what are we planning?
So now we have the 4-day champ training event, which was 7,000 points, fairly firm compared to the first one. I think the first one was like 4,500, something around there. So the champ training event was one of my first big ones that I wanted to get out of the way at this point. So I got that done, and then the so depending on how we had 1,000 energy already coming into Sunday, we got another 500 to 700 for the dailies that day plus our regen. So we're busting out champ training, hopefully for with all of that, and then we're starting on Spider. Okay. And this, we're just doing all of our daily energy until Monday/Tuesday, depending on when your tournament ended. And then you're gemming whatever left for the Dungeon Divers, because that's all the points we can get for the Fusion and Dungeon Divers. So once you're on your last day of that event, you use your gems. And then after that, we just had Classic Arena and a Champ Chase if you didn't do the midweek Summon Rush, and another Artifact Enhancement. So again, pretty straightforward, just depending on where your days lined up and your tournaments lined up with your reset and stuff like that, depending on how much gems you got to use there at the very end. Some people got to use their Tuesday energy and some didn't. So
How many gems do you think you used during this fusion?
the first Dungeon Divers cost me 400. The second Dungeon Divers actually cost me 0, and the third Dungeon Divers cost me another 400. So 800 gems.
All right, so just like an estimate of what you used for shard wise, what do you think it was?
I think I pulled 4 Sacreds and 10 Voids, something like that for the first Summon Rush, and then maybe a couple hundred Mysteries, something trivial on that end. And then, yeah, then I used a big chunk of, because I pulled 9 Sacreds on the Harima 10X, like I shouldn't have. So I had to pull out of my pocket for Mysteries on the Summon Rush.
What kind of advice would you have for everybody now, going forward to the next fusion, preparing?
Again, just like I said before, don't zero your resources out. The points that are bottlenecks because you zeroed your resource out. Artifact enhancement, if you have no silver, you can't complete it. Shards, if you summon them all, you can't complete it. Right? So just don't zero yourself out and have a good time, guys, really.
All right, so we pretty much covered everything that happened both for you. I did my own videos that kind of kept everybody up to date on the 3 fusions that I did. But I love shoutouts. So what you got for me?
Yes, I'm gonna shout out my mod Gardner. He's actually one of the leaders of Mob's lower clans, but super great guy. He's been helpful. He's taken in a bunch of people that need help or in that mid game progression zone, trying to get into end game, and overall just a great guy. So definitely shout out Gardner.
Can you let everybody out there know where they can find you?
I am Nacho Plays 50 on both YouTube and Twitch, and every Sunday on Blazin's YouTube channel.
Now, what times do you usually stream?
Mostly in the mornings, yeah, and then at 3 p.m. on Sundays, EST.
Do you happen to have a message for everybody out there before we let everybody go? Is there anything you want to let them know?
Have fun, guys. Don't forget, it's a game. Not everything's got to be min-maxed into the ground, and these are just a few of the things that I do to help me have more fun. So if they help you, good. Otherwise, don't worry about it, man.
All right, so there we have it, guys. Full breakdown of what Nacho did on his fusion calendar, how he prepped up for this fusion. Go give the guy a follow over on YouTube and go hang out with him over on Twitch. He's great to hang out with. He plays a lot of great music, pretty chill, lots to have some banter and some fun. So, as always, guys, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.